Okay, good morning everyone on Chazak. But thank you for joining us on this beautiful Tuesday morning as we are getting ready for the holiday of Sukkot. My friends, the holiday of Sukkot is a beautiful holiday. And there are so many lessons to learn. Yesterday we had a beautiful class about the laws of Sukkah and lessons that we learned from the structure, from the dimensions of the Sukkah. Today I would like to go to the other mitzvah of the holiday, and that is the 4 Minim, the 4 species that we shake. We know that we shake 4 different items that need a lot of water. In a way, it's our thank you to Hashem for allowing us to be in the land of Israel, a land that has a lot of water, etc. And the 4 Minim we know is the lulav, that's the tall one, the hadassim, myrtle, the arava, and the willow, and the etrog, the citron. Okay, these are 4 items that we shake together. We tie the 3 lulav, hadas, arava in one, and then the etrog is separate, and then we bring them together and we shake. Now, interesting halakha about the holiday and the mitzvah of the etrogim, of the 4 minim. I'm not sure if you went out to buy yours yet. We have over here on the website in the synagogue, and there's all over on corners. If you live in a Jewish area, people selling. And it's a beautiful thing to go into. It's an activity. It's an outing. Go out, take your kids, search, look for a nice one. Interesting thing. People spend hours looking for etrog. I went a couple of days ago with my kids, and really, we were there for maybe an hour looking through dozens and dozens and dozens of etrogim just to find one that's perfect. Now, we don't usually do that by other mitzvot. We don't usually sit there examining the matzah, making sure, take a matzah, take a bracha. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, when it comes to the mitzvah of etrog and lulav and hadas and arava, there's this obsession with making sure it's very, very clean. Now, this is not by mistake, obviously. There's a reason for this. The pasuk, when it introduces the fruit of the etrog, it calls it a pri etz hadar. That means that it's a fruit of a beautiful tree, of a beautiful fruit of a tree. Pri etz hadar. Hadar means beautiful, right? To adore. The word adore in English maybe comes from the Hebrew word hadar. Hadar is to adore, to beautify. And there's something important that the etrog should be beautiful. All of them have to be actually beautiful. And not only that, if it's not beautiful, halakha says it's no good. It's pasul. Now again, I want to understand that. Any other mitzvah needs beauty. All mitzvot should be beautiful. It's learned out from actually the pasuk that we say in the Shirah, Ze Eli ve'anvehu. This is my God and I will glorify Him. There's a mitzvah to glorify God. There's a mitzvah to do all mitzvot in a beautiful way. When you're writing a Torah, it should be beautiful. You got to pay more for a nice Torah. By the way, when you go to a sofer, I don't know if you ever experienced this, when you were buying mezuzot for your house. So he would say, this one is $60, this one is $100. Now, could be he's, taking advantage of you, okay, if he's not an honest guy. But hopefully the guy selling you a mezuzah is an honest guy. So, assuming that he's honest, why would one be 60 and one be 100? The answer is because the 100 one it's a nicer penmanship. It's written. It's nicer. The guy writing it often is usually more God-fearing. So you're paying for nicer. You're paying for nicer. And that's a mitzvah, nicer. Now, is the $60 mezuzah not kosher? If it's not so nice, is it not kosher? No, it's kosher. But it's better to pay more if you can for nicer. So every mitzvah should be nicer. But when it comes to etrog, if it's lacking in nice, it's no good. If you have a mezuzah, but it's not nice at all, but it's kosher. The words are there, it's kosher. When it comes to etrog, if it's if something's missing, if it's lacking in beauty, it's not kosher. And this very interesting halakha, that this Hiddur, that this beauty plays in the mitzvah of the 4 Minim. Something special about these 4. Why? Why is that the case? Rabbi Bernstein over here says something very beautiful. We're coming after the high holidays. And Sukkot is a continuation of that. And, we spend a whole day saying sorry on Yom Kippur for the sins that we did last year. Now, what sins, the sins that we did, whatever sins we did, really, we have to understand that there's a much bigger problem than the sin. Besides that I did a sin, it's that I also, why do we sin? Why did I miss shul? Why did I not learn? Why did I eat something? Why did I act in a way? The answer is because we sometimes give certain, right? It's a result of our values being corrupted. Our priorities are all messed up. The reason I missed minyan, because I had to go to work, is because work is more important than minyan. So it's not just sorry that I missed minyan. I'm sorry that I no longer valued mitzvot. I no longer valued minyan. I no longer valued learning. Life is about, this time of the year, Sukkot especially, is about learning to reassign importance to the mitzvot. The mitzvot that we skip throughout the year because they're not important, this time of the year comes and reminds us, no, mitzvot are important. And not only are they important, but really that's what Hiddur is. What do we beautify? What do we spend time beautifying? You beautify the things that are important to you. If you're obsessed with looks, you're going to spend a lot of time looking into the mirror, making sure that you're beautiful, making sure that your hair is nice, making sure that your face is nice, going to facial, getting hair, right? Because it's important to you. Making sure you're always groomed, right? Yosef HaTzadik, when he wasn't yet a tzaddik, he was still a little kid, he was in the mirror, doing his hair, because it was important to him. So he would beautify his hair. And that was actually a critique on Yosef. Why are you spending so much time on your hair? It's not important. Some people, they don't care about their looks. You see them, they walk, they have the hair long and they don't shave and they don't care, right? For them, they have the car. The car is very important. So they spend time beautifying their car. They're waxing it and they're polishing it and they're car washing, right? Some people, they don't value their car, they value maybe their animal. They want to make sure their animal is shampooed, they take them to the manicure, their dog, they get them groomed, right? Some people, they value a house, they beautify the house. Everyone in the world beautifies something. The question is, what do you beautify? What do we make beautiful? We make beautiful the things that are important to us. And Sukkot comes and we make mitzvot beautiful. Because we're reminding ourselves that that's what has to be important to us. Mitzvot have to be important. I'm spending $200 on an etrog because it's an important item. I'll spend money on important things. Rabbi Prague, it's one of my favorite stories probably. Rabbi Prague, Brooklyn, he was my rabbi when I was a student in Flatbush, and then when I went back to teach in Flatbush, I learned a lot from him. And one time, he was giving a shi'ur, and a gentleman, came in, it was Sukkot time, and this guy comes in and he goes, Rabbi, if you ask me, I think it's a sin that people spend $200 on an etrog. I think you should spend $30 on an etrog and give $170 to tzedakah. And the whole class was like, quiet, silence. What's the rabbi going to answer to that? Rabbi Prague looked at him And he said, tell me, why do you spend $1,200 on a BMW? You could spend $300 on a Honda and give $900 to tzedakah. Why are you spending so much? If you care about tzedakah, drive a smaller car. Roast, okay? That's a mic drop. The answer of the century. But what Rabbi was telling him is obviously very, very powerful. It's what we're talking about right now. That we all spend money on things. And in life, if you want to know what's important to somebody, got to see what do they spend money on. Person has a bar mitzvah. Spending how much money on a bar mitzvah? Hundreds of thousands. Okay, there's music, there's decoration, there's flowers, there's lights, there's DJ, right? All of a sudden it comes to a guy buying for his son the tefillin, the main item of the day, the reason we're celebrating the bar mitzvah is the tefillin that he's about to start putting every day of his life. And when it comes to that, all of a sudden, the guy starts bugging out. What? $1,200? Come on! There's no $800 pair? $1,200? What a saf! He's crying for $400. The guy's spending $100,000, didn't bat an eyelash, buying the most expensive suit that's gonna last him for 6 months till he outgrows it. He's buying him flowers that are gonna die the next day. The kid doesn't even care. Putting all the money and on the thing that he's gonna wear every day of his life, the most important item, the guy goes cheap. The guy's crying. Why? It's because it's unfortunate. It's maybe an innocent mistake, but the guy, his values are all backwards. He doesn't value really. He doesn't understand the importance of tefillin. He doesn't understand the importance of mitzvah. To him, important is party. Important is showing off to everyone what I have, what I can throw, what I can spend on. That's what's important. So he's spending. He beautifies, right? As the saying goes, he spends more money on the bar than on the mitzvah. Right? That's the important thing to the guy, the bar. But life, really, is about learning to cultivate a respect, a love for mitzvot, that's where we're spending our money. Matter of fact, there's a great rabbi in Israel. He sells now, very, very hard to get tefillin for him. People that try to get from him. But many, many years ago, when his kids were young, he getting them their bar mitzvah. So he would take his kids with him. He would plan them a nice party. So he would take his kids with him. And he would go to the caterer. And the caterer would say, okay, what level food you want? There's different levels. He said, give me the average, whatever average people do. Okay? And then he would go with him to the florist. Give me the average. And then he would go with him to the DJ. Give me the average. And then he would take his son to the sofer, to the tefillin guy. And the guy would say, okay, what level tefillin you want? And he would say in front of his son, I want the best tefillin you got, the most expensive pair. I'm not going cheap on the tefillin. These are the lessons that we're teaching our kids. The kid sees that. He understands what's important for the rest of his life. It can be that all of a sudden, when it comes to everything, we have money. And then when it comes to mitzvot, we're broke. We go cheap. We go third grade. We got to be able to always be top level. We got to be able to spend on mitzvot. We got to show. I think it's a beautiful thing when a guy spends money on an aliyah. To go up for an aliyah. He's showing this, I'm spending money. That guy spends, an extra 5K to sit in coach. That guy spends an extra 5K to wear a watch that has a certain logo on it. That guy spends an extra 5K on that. To have a pocketbook that has a certain sign. For me, 5K is that I get to go up for an aliyah on the high holidays. That's a beautiful thing. That's a person understanding after Yom Kippur, after the holidays, that the material is not where we should spend our money. It's not the focus. Now again, if you were blessed, you could spend it on both. Beautiful. If you have it all, amazing. Amazing. Beautiful. Problem is where we spend it on the wrong area. If we have to decide, we pick the areas that are trivial. And I think we see over here, Sukkot, that the Sukkah and the four species, they work actually hand in hand. No pun intended, right? The Sukkah is about de-emphasizing the material, the physical. We leave the house. We're saying the house is not important. The artwork on your wall, the sofa, the Xbox, it's not, whatever. Don't make that, your art collection shouldn't be the focus of life. Right? So we leave the house. Then we grab the mitzvot, we grab the minim, and we spend on those. We get beautiful minim, as if to say, and this, by the way, this is important. It's interesting to note that the pasuk, when it says to do the mitzvah in a beautiful way, it says, Ze eli ve'anvehu, this is my God and I'll glorify him. And in the language of our rabbis, it says, Hitna'e lefanav bemitzvot. Anvehu means Hitna'e lefanav bemitzvot. What does that mean, Hitna'e lefanav bemitzvot? It means Na'e, beautify, lefanav, in front of Hashem, with mitzvot. So simply it means that you should, again, do mitzvot in a beautiful way. But Rabbi Bernstein notices that actually, if you pay attention to the literal translation, Hitna'e lefanav bemitzvot means not beautify mitzvot in front of him. It means beautify yourself in front of him. What does that mean? Beautify yourself? I'm not beautifying myself. I'm not decorating my face with a etrog. I'm beautifying the etrog. What does it mean, beautify yourself? And says Rabbi Bernstein, an amazing lesson. It's the same lesson. We all have things that we think make us beautiful. We all have things that we take pride in. We all have things that we boast about. Hitna'e lefanav means that what should make a Jew proud is his mitzvot. That's what should make us proud. When you talk to your friends, if you want to know what's important to somebody, just listen to what he's talking about. What does he talk about when you go out for a drink? What does he tell you? You know, last night I got tickets to the Legends, to the Yankee game. Okay, so you know, to him, baseball's important. Another guy says, you know, when you come over, I got to show you my Scotch collection. So you understand this guy, he's Scotch. That's what his item is, right? One guy tells you about his golf. He says, wow, I scored the other day 76. Wow, amazing. Tzaddik. Okay, so everyone has things that they pride themselves in. What do you pride yourself in? What makes you proud? What do you talk about when you're sitting with someone at dinner? What do you show someone when you bring them over your house? You show them your art collection? Do you show them your cars that you have parked in the back? What do you show? What do you pride yourself in? And what needs to make a Jew proud, our rabbis tell us, are our mitzvot. Hitna'e lefanav b'mitzvot. Pride yourself in the mitzvot that you do. That should be what makes us proud. Everything else is nice. And this is, as parents, what a lesson to our children. What do you emphasize to your kids? Your kid comes home with a test. He got 100 in math. The hypotenuse, he can now tell you the degree of the angle of the triangle. Okay, beautiful, 100. He gets 100 in Gemara. As a parent, what excitement do you show for each? You should just know, whatever excitement you show, your kid's gonna see it. It's gonna resonate. If you show for the 100 on math, a level 10 excitement, and then for the Gemara, it's a level 8, 7, 6. Oh, very nice. Chazak Baruch. Right? What are you putting on the fridge? What are you attaching? What goes up? What covers what? What's important to you? What are you showing your kids that you value? Torah or others? Maybe both. Put them side by side. I give each a level 10. They're both important. Okay, whatever it is. But you just need to know that you are giving messages to your children. You're giving messages to your children. There was once a Rebbe, he was teaching the kids in the class, and he said to the boys, boys, the best thing in the world is Torah. Is there anything yummier than Torah? And one kid raised his hand. He said, yes, Rabbi. There's one thing yummier than Torah. And all the kids started, like, is this guy crazy? And he said, what's yummier than Torah? What could it be? You're making jokes. He said, no, I'll tell you. Chulent. Chulent is yummier than Torah. The rabbi, of course, starts getting furious. All the kids are cracking up. How dare you say that? Chutzpah. What? Chulent? Yummier? Making a joke? He said, no, it's the truth. He said, what is the truth? Who taught? We don't teach that over here in the yeshiva. Where'd you learn that from? The kid says, my father told me that. He said, your father? No way, your father's a tzaddik. I know your father. He would never say that children's yummier than Torah. The kid said, well, that's what he told me. You see, every Shabbat, I pull out my Dvar Torah sheets from school, and I'm reading them on the table. And my father could barely keep his eyes open. And then my mom brings out the children. Ya Habibi, he wakes up, he's pumped, let's go. So my father told me that children's yummier than Torah. Because children comes out, he's wide awake. What excites us in life? When you walk with your kids to shul, are you pumped? Or you're dragging your feet? Your kids could sense it. When we go to a game, how are we going? Let's go! We gotta go! You're running. You're running to a game and you're slouching to shul. So you're giving your kid a message. Rav Yitzchak Hiddur, he became a big rabbi. And he recalled the following story when he was a little kid. He came home from school one day. And he says, I mentioned to my mother that we finished that day in Masechet. And my mother said, wow, beautiful. And I said, I guess, just a Masechet. And the next day he says, I came home from school and I saw the table was set like Shabbat, holiday. Tablecloth, the china. My mother was dressed in her holiday dress. She wore it once a year. She was wearing it in the middle of the week. The food, the candles were lit. It was like Yom Tov. Like, Mom, what in the world's going on? It's the middle of the week. She said to him, Yitzchak, when you told me yesterday that you finished the Masechet, for me, that's the biggest Yom Tov. That's the biggest holiday. There could be nothing nicer in the world to hear to my ears than that you finished learning a Masechet. Of course, Yitzchak said his whole life, this carried him. Every single day, he remembered that's what is important to his mommy. And that's why he became a big rabbi. So what do we emphasize to our kids? It can be that for 30 years, the only thing we stress to our kids is college, and college, and college. And then when they're 30 and 40, we're crying that they don't want to marry a Jew, that they don't want to learn, that they don't. Whose fault is that? For 30 years, you said zero about Torah. You said zero about religion. Only thing you emphasized was good scores, good SATs, good college, good job, good degree. And all of a sudden, you wake up when your kid's 30. You taught him that Torah doesn't matter. You sacrificed a good school for yeshiva because you wanted him to get a good grade for college. You told him college, you told him secular is more important than Torah. You told him that. So of course, it's not exclusive. It doesn't have to be one or the other. But we got to make sure that we're showing our children that mitzvot are important. And the truth is, if you ask people in a room to list 10 things that are important to them, everyone in the room probably have the same 10 things on the list. Only difference is where on the list each item is going to appear. If you ask yeshivas, list to me your 6 core values, probably every yeshiva in the community is going to have the same 6. The only difference is where on the list are each 6. What's first and what's 6th. Everyone has the same ones. If you want to know when you make a decision for a yeshiva for your kid, doesn't matter what the 6 are. Matters the order of the six. Look at what's first. What's first is everything. The other school also has that one somewhere on its list, but maybe it's in the back. What do you put first on your list? What's your first priority? That's what you value most. Because everyone really values the same things, just different order. Very, very powerful idea. And this is, by the way, this is what the Gemara says. Gemara says that when the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, the rabbis, the prophets, they didn't know why. Why is the Beit HaMikdash being destroyed? They're learning Torah. The Torah, why is Torah not protecting us? That's what they wanted to know. Till finally the Bat Kol came out and said, Lo birchu b'Torah b'tehillah. They got a prophecy. But the reason is, Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam shakol niyavaro. Because they weren't blessing the Torah in the beginning. What does it mean they weren't blessing the Torah in the beginning? So simply it means that they weren't saying the blessings on the Torah in the beginning before they were learning. Today when you woke up this morning, you said Birchot Torah, right? You said Birchot HaShachar. So the Gemara seems to be saying that the Jews in the time of the Beit HaMikdash, they weren't saying those blessings. Chamuvadia says, that's not what it means. It's much deeper than that. Lo Birchu b'Torah b'tehillah means that when you would ask a guy, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your day. Tell me about your accomplishments. When a person would list on his resume his accomplishments, his achievements, he would list, I have this, I have that. Everyone has the same list. But at the times of this time period in history, Lo birchu b'Torah tehillah. Torah wasn't on the top of the list. The guy would tell you, I graduated this place, I have this job, I make this much, I live on this block, I vacation in these areas, I fly this level, when I'm on the plane, whatever. And I learn every night. So Torah is there, but it's all the way at the end. I learn every night. Why is that the last thing on your list? When I tell you, tell me about yourself. Torah should be first. You want to know about myself? I'll tell you. You want to know? Here it is. I learn every night. Baruch Hashem. We have a lot of guys here in the shul. They're learning every day. And you speak to them. They're thirsty to learn. They're hungry to learn. They want to learn. Person, that's priorities. I'm learning. And then in between, I'm working. First, I'm learning. That's my item. I learn. That's how a Jew has to talk. Birchu b'Torah tehillah. We have to boast through Torah in the beginning. Torah is the first thing that we talk about. That should be, at least. If we're not there, we got to get there. We got to address that. We got to realize. We got to fix it from within. We got to sit down and we have to rethink what our priorities are. And that's really what Sukkot is all about. Sukkot's about. Torah is not in the beginning of your list. Because your house is on the beginning of your list. Or your car. Or whatever. That shouldn't be the beginning of your list. That's not important. You know what? For 7 days, leave your house. Leave your car. Come into Sukkah. This is important. Look around. What's here? Your kids. That's important. Kiddush. That's important. Shabbat candles. That's important. That's what we are. That's what we just read on Yonah, right? They asked Yonah, who are you? Who are you? If I woke you up at 3 a.m. and I said, who are you? What'd you say? I'm a fill in the blank. Who are you? I'm a lawyer. I'm a doctor. I'm a rabbi. I'm single. Right? Who are you? You know what Yonah said? You know what he said? You know who I am? I'm a Jew. That's who I am. I'm a Jew. I'm also an American. I'm also a baseball fan. I'm also Yankees, Jets, whatever you like. I'm also a father. But first thing, I'm a Jew. Ivri Anochi. I'm a Jew. That is the first thing that we pride ourselves in. When we wake up, first thing when we talk to somebody, tell me about your day. What do you spend money on? Etrog. I also drive a nice car. But I also carry a nice etrog. Because etrog is important to me. Mitzvot are important. Mitzvot are important. And that's what I spend money on. Because I spend money on things that are important to me in my life. And this is something that hopefully the holiday of Sukkot helps us cultivate. This sensitive appreciation for the mitzvot that we do. Okay, my friends, we'll stop over here. Have a wonderful day. And hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.